The ADL, sometimes charitably referred to as the Anti-Defamation League, or far more accurately and realistically as the Association for Deranged Lunatics, has put out a survey so genuinely, absolutely bonkers as to prove nothing except that there are indeed lies, damned lies, and statistics. It suggests that 20% of video game playing Americans have been swatted over video games. Swatting referring to having the actual SWAT team, the heavily armed police team, sent to your house. It is a data point so blatantly ridiculous as to... Okay, here's an example, right? Imagine you send a probe into space, and you take a sample of space, and the result comes back suggesting that the satellite is currently submerged in an ocean of liquid jello. That is the level of absurdity we're talking about here. It is a finding so absolutely beyond the pale as to suggest simply a critical malfunction of whatever measuring tool you're currently using. The entire survey should have been thrown out right then and there, but we live, of course, in the age of the big lie. And instead, we now have a report that is being taken seriously. Somehow. Well, somehow. It is being taken seriously because, of course, this is used to push an agenda. Hate is no game. Harassment and positive social experience in online games in 2021. Which, of course, concludes by saying things like, we need more power, we need more funding, oh, and by the way, entrust your children to us as well. Right. No ulterior motives there, I see. It begins, of course, by, massaging the data a little bit by saying that when we say players experienced hate, harassment, or positive social interactions, the time period at issue is within the past 6 months. So if somebody called you a naughty word over the course of the last 6 months, consider yourself harassed. Alright, that's pretty ridiculous, but we're not even at the base of this mountain of absurdities. Oh, no. Then we continue to massage the data, of course, by oversampling individuals who identify as LGBTQ+, Jewish, Muslim, Black or African American, of course, B, capital all of these, of course, because we are talking about political identities here rather than merely skin colors, and Hispanics/Latinx. The term that all Latinos absolutely loathe, but that you're gonna have to bloody live with. So, already, we have a ridiculously long period for being called a naughty word on the internet, and then we also intentionally skew and bias the survey in a particular direction. So far, so normal, frankly. I mean, this is nothing outside of the norm for a certain organization. We then go on to the actual study here. Now, first and foremost, what's interesting in positive experiences in games. 99% of people have positive experiences in video games. 99%. So basically, literally everyone who plays video games have positive experiences. Games are a positive thing overall. They are a good. And of course, this is important to remember because the gist of this, nothing needs to be done about the positive experiences. That's not even mentioned in the conclusions. They just, oh no, don't care about that, that's fine. What we need to is stricter regulations, more tracing, more data gathered, and of course, more censorship, with stricter punishment for naughty words on the internet. Now we get to the hate and harassment in online games. So, harassed at all, so called a naughty word, over the last 6 months whilst playing games, 82%, or 83%, which honestly, I am disappointed. Really? We can't do better than that? Only 83% of people have heard a naughty word after 6 months on the internet? Like, I don't consider you to be plugged into the internet unless the first word you see is the F word, followed shortly by the C word, both of which I am no longer allowed to use on YouTube because we live in a neo-puritanical cyberpunk dystopia, frankly. And then, of course, swatted. Again, now they have broadened the definition here, as the ADL do best, of course. It now not only refers to having the SWAT team sent to your house, but any false emergency call. 20%. 20%. And of course, this means that this is all Americans, mind you. This isn't their sample size. This is what they extrapolate. So more than 80 million American adults. This is their extrapolation. Now, don't even bother mentioning that taking a sample size of 2,000 deliberately, biasly weighted people and then extrapolating to the entire population is absolute statistical murder. Ignore that part. 80 million Americans, so 20% of 80 million Americans have been swatted. 16 million Americans, then, have been swatted in the last 6 months. Rightio then, that sounds very reasonable, doesn't it? No, it doesn't. No, it really genuinely does not. And that's 6 months, so to be realistic here, we need to double that figure, don't we? So 32 million Americans every year are being swatted because they play video games. Now, I tried to figure out, like, okay, what's the amount of emergency calls? This is the best one I found. In an average year, around 240 million 911 calls are made in the US, and that includes, of course, all of the bullshit, like overflowing toilets, dead batteries in a smoke detector, and barking dogs. So that's 240 million calls, including all of the bullshit. And if we take, okay, what's 32 million out of 240 million? 12%? Circuit. Bearing in mind that my head math is absolutely astonishingly bad, but let's say 12%, right? Right. So 12% of all 911 calls in the US result in the swatting of someone's house for a goddamn video game. No. Absolutely not. Absolutely goddamn not. That is absurd. That is actually ridiculous. Not to mention, of course, actual swatting, which is... The statistic I found for that was something like 80,000 swatting incidents, not like swatting, but 80,000 mobilizations of the SWAT team in a year. It's absurd. It is actually a joke. But people, of course, take it seriously. So now you get articles like this going, this is a huge problem. 86% of US adults, all 83%, excuse me, of all US adults are harassed in video games. Just there. They don't care about the fact that this is what they do. They take a stat. They tell you how they're massaging it, they tell you how they're being dishonest, but then of course that doesn't matter because these people will run with it and go, 83% of US adults online gamers said that they had been harassed. That is of course absolute bullshit. Complete and utter horseshit. And yeah, now this is being used to beat the industry over the head. And what are the things here? Let me translate from bullshit speak. Release regular and consistent transparency reports regarding hate and harassment. Give us more data to massage to further prove our points. Give us more ammunition to attack you with. Submit to regular schedule independent audits. Give us money to look at your data. So pay us to produce more ammunition against you. Improve reporting systems and support for target harassment in games. Do something. We don't care what. It's like, make reporting people easy. In most games, reporting someone is click, click. There you are. Click, click. The only way you can make this easier is if you just have a giant report button hovering over every person's avatar. Where you don't even have to open a menu, just click on their picture, a report. Or hell, set up an automated bot that just reports everyone on your team in an online game. I mean, if 83% of people are being harassed, odds are you're gonna be right 80% of the time, right? Address workplace toxicity. What does this have to do with video games exactly? Nothing. It's give us more power in your workplace. Build content moderation tools for in-game voice chat. Ah yes, monitor people's speech on the internet. And of course it keeps going. Support the research of game scholars and practitioners. Again, give us more money. Give us more power. Give us access to your children. Prioritize, make it illegal. And then make it more illegal, more stringent illegal, increase penalties. And then, of course, enforce the penalties. It is literally a massive give us more power. And yet, despite 6 months for a bad word on the internet, despite massaging the stats, intentionally biasing the stats, despite saying it, despite having the data there, despite it saying that 20% of gamers are swatted, despite all of this, you still have absolute brainlets, like Brendan Sinclair here, going, oh my god, this is horrible, this is a big problem. 83% of US adult online gamers are being harassed. You, sir, don't know how to read, period. Not even just a survey, read in general, frankly. And of course, and this is being used by the corporation as well. Why do you think Microsoft and Google are like, oh my gosh, this is a real problem. We're gonna gather more data from you. We're gonna introduce more data gathering tools. We're gonna monitor your speech on the internet now. We're gonna record you while you're playing an online game. Why do you think that is? Oh, that's right. These corporations sell your data to anyone willing to pay, and they're saying they're gonna gather more of your data, including, the ADL suggested, stuff like your religion and ethnicity. Oh goody, oh goody, oh goody, good. Cyberpunk dystopia, here we come, courtesy of the Association of Deranged Lunatics. Until next time, I've been Arch, thank you all very much for watching, and I hope to see you all again soon. Have a good day. And remember, the ADL, just don't ever. They're insane.